Hello and welcome to Rolling with Two. I'm Will, and with me as always is the person that goes, hey, you know what this community's missing? A pyramid.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a two-player perspective and accessibility for Flaming Pyramids. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In Flaming Pyramids, players are building one pyramid together using square tiles. But the player who gets rid of all their tiles first is the winner. The tiles are a unique combination of color, number, and material. Placement is constrained by matching color or number and being less than the sum of the numbers on the tiles below. For advanced play, there are tiles that can cause mayhem and collapse, causing tiles to go back to players' supplies. So, Will, how do the rules change for two players?
Now, before I get into that, I kid you not, the theme of the game is like, hey, you go out and everyone in the community, hey, they're building a pyramid, so you join in.
Yeah, because that's a thing communities do.
Yes.
That is pretty funny.
Now, for two players, there is no changes. There is no nanobot.
Nope.
But there might be a nano pharaoh in your nano pyramid.
Okay. So, issues at a two-player count is it doesn't really have the dynamic interaction and whimsy that I think higher player counts would have. It's definitely more cutthroat because it's just going back and forth between the two players.
Yeah, it makes it easier to set up. Like, well, based on what I've seen you play, I'm pretty sure I can set you up to fail.
Right.
That's ultimately what it comes down to. Is it feels like I'm more just trying to make the other person fail,
Yeah.
rather than making myself succeed.
Yeah. Well, and although you do have to be careful with making the other person fail, that you don't set yourself up to fail if they get past your challenge, but then just make it harder for you.
Right.
So it definitely is a give and take there.
Yeah.
What it does well is the turns do go quickly. I mean, you're placing a tile, the opponent's placing a tile, back to you. So it does go fast.
Yes.
All right, on to accessibility. Now, for those with severe vision disabilities like Will, the shapes representing the colors just really aren't distinct enough because they're all different variations of a rectangle.
Yes. Whether they're like squished in on some of the sides,
Right.
or they're stretched out because they're more like pill-shaped.
Yeah. The oval was the best, but
Sort of.
that's the problem. Everything felt like they took a rectangle and modified it. Now, if you've just got colorblind accessibility and you've got nothing else wrong with your vision, they are perfectly fine. You can tell them apart. But if you have anything else obscuring your vision, they're just not going to be distinct enough.
Yeah.
So these are all white icons, just different shapes of rectangles. When you get to the tiles that have a yellow background, white on yellow is very hard to see. So that's also a poor contrast issue that may be a problem for both colorblind or more severe vision issues.
But if you can't see the icon, you're just like, oh, it's yellow.
That's true, because the other ones have much better contrast.
Yeah.
The tiles are meant to be kept hidden, which is difficult for those with severe vision issues. And unfortunately, it does affect the gameplay. I mean, I tried not to pay too much attention to your tiles when reading them to you,
Yeah.
but I still knew what they were.
I still won.
You still won, but it did affect the choices I made, which wouldn't happen in a game where someone can see all their tiles in their hand without needing help from anybody else. So the fact, even though it didn't change my choices for the better, obviously,
Yeah.
it still changed my choices. So this is going to be a difficult one for someone with more severe vision issues. Cognitively, there's a challenge here in that the image of rock, wood, or straw.
Not wheat.
I know, it looks like wheat to me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It looks like a bundle of wheat.
I had to bring this up because Sarah actually had issues with this cognitively.
Yeah, because I kept calling it wheat when it's straw.
And you also wanted to match
Oh,
the
right.
picture.
Getting back to why I'm bringing this up. It's not just because it looks like wheat and it's called straw. That's not the problem. The problem is the picture has nothing to do with the color. A lot of yellow all the colors, so each color, so all yellow colors, all green, red and blue,
Yeah.
will have all of the pictures. The pictures have nothing to do with what the color is. So for the base game, you can completely ignore what that picture is because it does not matter. You only need to know the color of the tile, which can also be identified by the shape under the number or the number itself. But if you're playing the advanced game, then you need to pay attention to the picture. But I kept, like Will was saying, getting confused on trying to match, oh, this is a wood, so I can put a wood tile above it. No, that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
No, you need color or number, not and when it comes to wood, straw, and stone, that all comes down to how does it burn?
Yeah, which is part of the advance, which we'll get to later. So that could be a cognitive hurdle for some people because the picture is the largest thing on there. It's very, I don't know, easy to fall in the mindset of, oh, well, this is a rock. I can put a rock on a rock. But the colors don't match and the numbers don't match, so you can't do it. So that's just a little bit of a learning curve challenge.
Yes. In fact, just let them do it and then watch it fall apart
True.
in front of them and then laugh.
If you want to be mean about it.
Yes.
Because you do want to win.
Yes.
So that actually brings me to the rules. They're a bit vague on how to resolve the more advanced game. Okay, so in the base game, you can still collapse sections if you put a tile on top that does not match color and does not match it does not match.
Or if it's too heavy.
Or if
it
it's
has
too
a
heavy.
higher number than the combined numbers below it.
So if you put 120 on a combined 100, it's going to collapse the tiles below it.
Because it will crush.
Right. It's too heavy.
Yeah, or it's just structurally unsound. That's the whole color's not matching.
Right. Yeah, colors not matching, numbers not matching. Yeah, it's not structurally sound. You gain the collapsed tiles. The tile you place goes down and you choose left or right. And you do another check to make sure it's a valid placement. So once you have valid placement, you've taken whatever extra tiles, they go underneath your stack and that extends your game. Now, when you're playing with the advanced stuff, it makes things burn. Rocks don't burn. That's nice. At least there's one thing in the game that doesn't burn.
They can explode, though.
They can explode, but that's another thing. So when you burn, either coal will burn straw or the flamethrower? Blowtorch can burn both wood and straw. The examples in the rules are very simple when you add it on top, because when you add anything on top, it's going to affect everything below. But there's always a point in when you're building a pyramid where you're building up the side. So if you bring a blowtorch in from the side, there's no example that shows, okay, we know that it burns everything below it. Does it burn everything to the left? Does it burn everything above? If you burned everything to the left, is that going to burn things down the left side so that all you got in the end is this rock center? I mean, how far do the flames spread along the burnable material? It's never very clear in the rules.
Now, the rules do say, like, top to bottom, left to right.
But if you add the blowtorch in on the right side, if you're literally looking from left to right, you've got wood, 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 blowtorch. Does that mean then those 3 wood are safe because you don't encounter the blowtorch till you're at the end?
Right.
And then it does burn everything below it. But again, what if you're burning everything below and a piece goes to the left and then farther to the left? There's too many variables that it just doesn't cover complex issues.
Especially since sometimes, if something does get burned, and the tile that was above it is no longer valid, there is a crushing situation. So you do have to go back up and reevaluate. So there is some rules to say that might be the case where you have more complex burning. Maybe. So I unfortunately did not remember to go on Board Game Geek to post my question and get a response before this video. Oh, and we also mentioned about exploding. So when the blowtorch and the coal come together, they explode, and they'll even blow up rocks that are around them.
Yes, but that's more straightforward because it's going to literally blow up every tile that is adjacent to those 2 tiles.
Right.
And that's it. So that's more straightforward.
But that's also up.
Yes, but it's only 1 tile up. The
Right.
problem with burning is it makes it sound like it spreads. But you don't know how it spreads.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping, hopefully, maybe by the time, that this gets posted, I'll have posted my question. I'll try to remember to link to that thread to hopefully get an answer on how these more complex situations are resolved, so that it'll help you play the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's everything that we had trouble with. What it does right, I think I mentioned those with only colorblind vision challenges should be fine because those symbols are distinct enough. If your vision otherwise is good, you should be fine. The good news also, you can play the basic game without those mayhem tiles, as I call them, and you'll have a really good time. So if you are finding those advanced tiles too complicated, just don't play with them. And also, the numbers in the white, the numbers are black text on the white icon, so that's really good contrast. It's the only text that is on the tiles, so that's really good.
Yeah.
It's pretty language independent, which is also going to be good for cognitive, playing with younger children and stuff like that. All right, conclusion.
For 2 players, would you recommend?
Only if you really like that tactical cutthroat type of combat. Well, not combat.
Yeah, it starts feeling like combat, honestly.
Interactions.
Yeah. In fact, one time I just set up, it's like we were playing the advanced game and I had to put something at the base and there was a rock, so I stuck a blowtorch. And I go, okay, build on that. And she's like,
I don't have a rock.
I don't have a rock. Oh, well.
I'm like,
I guess
I
it
immediately
burns.
had to burn the thing on top of it, even though it was only one tile.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get cutthroat that way.
Yeah.
For accessibility, I think most people will be fine.
Yes. Provided you don't have severe vision impairment like I do, where I just can't play this game.
Yeah.
The way it's intended. So, yeah. Most people aren't going to have that problem, though.
Right.
But it is worth mentioning that if you're severe blindness, no, just don't bother.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right, Sarah. Why?
Why what?
Why are you building a pyramid?
Because it's the neighborly thing to do. Yeah. Well, we're way past the whole borrowing a cup of sugar, which, by the way, don't borrow a cup of sugar because you ain't giving it back. But we're past that. Block parties, that's old school. We are now building neighborhood pyramids and then putting them on fire.
There you go.
There you
Why
go.
would you ever roll with just one when you can be rolling with two and burning pyramids? And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.